and welcome to Crooked Letter Sports Podcast, the show about Mississippi sports and the folks who play them. I'm Tyler Cleveland, joined as always by my co-host and dad, Rick Cleveland of Mississippi Today fame. Dad, did you have a good weekend?
Yeah, I was down at Fallen Oak, Sauget, Mississippi, down on the Gulf Coast, and saw some wonderful golf played by some of the best college golfers in the country.
Yeah, well, it sounds exciting. I want to hear more about it. I am personally still buzzing from that ALCS Game 7 last night where George Springer hit the 3-run homer in the bottom of the 7th to send the Blue Jays to the World Series and end the 32-year World Series drought for the organization. Man, is there anything better than postseason baseball?
No, and I don't have a rooting interest
Neither
there.
do I. Don't care.
But just you watch just the pictures of not just the players, but the fans and just the emotion that is gone into it. Hell, you could watch it without the sound, except the sound adds so much to it.
I mean, I want to turn my TV volume to like 50 and put it on in the living room and just kind of live in the moment. I was telling my buddy, we were watching it last night. I was like, can you imagine if you had watched, let's just say, 100 Mariners games this season? That's, about a fifth or whatever. I mean, a third. But you watch a third of the games or 2/3 of the games, 100 games, and you get down to the end and you got 4 outs to get 1 run or the season's over. But if you get it, you get to go to the World Series. You know what I mean? It's just it's as good as it gets. And last night was very special. Dad, we had a lot of developments in the Mississippi sports scene over the weekend, not least at the high school level. Man, what a game they had between Oxford and Germantown. Oxford, of course, ranked 4th in the state, beat Germantown 43-42 in double overtime. The kind of game that makes high school football great. My favorite story at the high school level right now continues to be the Lanier Bulldogs. Yeah. Moved to 8-0 with a 38-22 win over Holmes County Central. I don't know where it came from, and people will look at their schedule and say, they hadn't, but they have. They've beaten a 7A team. They beat Holmes County Central, who's been the bullies in that league for a while, and it's just a cool story. I mean, you don't see very many positive stories from JPS, especially when it comes to football, and this is one of them, man. I'm telling you, this is getting special.
Well, for people out there that don't know the history and the pride of Maple Street and
833
and Lanier High School, it really is, and it's a great story, and I can't wait to get out there and tell it.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you've got an assignment for this week.
Yeah, I do.
I want to give a shout-out to Wayne County running back Steve Morgan, who is I believe, the Capital Sports MS Player of the Week. I saw he had 15 carries for 243 yards and 5 touchdowns, caught 2 passes for 75 yards and a 6th touchdown in a 41-30 win over Van Cleve. Always fun. You remember when Wayne County was awesome. They had it rocking and rolling. What a great program. Glad to see they're kind of back in the mix.
Yeah, 243 yards on 15 carries. You don't have to be too good at math to figure out. That's a whole bunch of yards per carry.
Yeah, for sure. Dad, we got so much to get to in college football today. Man, what a weekend it was. I know you were at the reunion, my mom's high school reunion on Saturday, and did not get to see as much as I did, but I'm here to fill you in on what you didn't see, and you can tell me a little bit about what you saw.
Well, I watched as much as I could, and it was on that great big screen at You know what I'm talking about, on
Keg and Barrel.
Keg and Barrel on Hardy Street in Hattiesburg.
Not a bad place to watch a football game.
No, not a bad place, but when you got people you hadn't seen in 30 years coming up trying to talk to you, you don't get to.
Well, key phrase there with you being trying to talk to you.
Yeah.
Dad, Well, I'll tell you this: at Keg and Barrel, you had about as much effect on the outcome of the game in Athens as Ole Miss's defense did. Talking to your friends there at the Keg and Barrel, Georgia had 34 first downs. 34. The worst team in NCAA football, the worst defense statistically, gives up 25 on average. And Ole Miss gave up 34 against Georgia. Georgia never punted. They won 43-35. Ole Miss still had the ball with a chance to go down and score and tie it at the end.
Well, Tyler, coming into this season, I thought that the big question mark with Ole Miss was their defense. And then they played so well early on because they lost so many not just good players, but great players off that team defensive players. But obviously, we've got lots of film on them now, and people have figured some things out.
Well, my big takeaway from the game, and I did get to watch every snap of it, was that they didn't win up front. I mean, neither one of those defenses won up front. I mean, Ole Miss whipped them on that other side of the ball for 3.5 quarters. But they also struggled with tackling. I mean, there was a couple of times that they had them dead to rights behind the line to get off the field, and the guy just, spins or juice or whatever and gets an extra 3 or 4 yards, and it ended up being their undoing.
Well, there's some really good running backs on both those teams. The Ole Miss running back is just terrific.
Yeah,
he's a great player.
Lacey, yep. Yeah. They are good. No rest for the weary though. They're at number 13 Oklahoma this week. Oklahoma 6-1 after a win last week. Ole Miss is not in a position where they absolutely have to win, but at this point it would behoove them to get some breathing room.
Absolutely. I think you're right. They don't necessarily have to win to make the playoffs. They definitely have to win to stay in the hunt to have a first round bye.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Yeah,
and
but if you lose, then
you're zero margin for error after that.
There's no margin for error, and it might not be good enough.
Right
at 10-2.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You never at that point you're not needing help, but you're relying on other teams to even things out, and you don't want that. That takes us to the second disappointment of the weekend, which was Mississippi State. They lost 23-21 at Florida. It was one of the more frustrating losses. If you look at the last 14 SEC games, all losses for Mississippi State. This one may be number 1 or number 2 on the list of frustrating losses just because they were getting beat the whole game. They had the ball. They were down 2 points. They're inside the red zone against Florida in field goal range. And, they tried to get a little bit closer. And instead of running the ball, they threw it. And Chapin got picked off by the Florida, I want to say it was the defensive tackle that picked him off.
Yeah, I saw the replay of that. It's that defense where you drop the defensive tackle back into coverage, and
he just didn't see him.
A lot of times the quarterback doesn't see him, even though they're the biggest guys on the field.
It's hard. It looked like he'd be hard to miss, but they definitely did. He picks him off. They lose like that. Lebby got a lot of heat from the fans, especially on social media, for the decision to throw the ball there. And I get it. I'm looking at I watched the game. The kicker, Kyle Ferry, had missed from the same hash and the same yardage they were at when they called the play. So I think he's just trying to get just a little bit closer and maybe get it off that hash.
And also not give Florida time.
Right. I understand the sentiment. I wish that they had called a running play. I understand they were not winning up front on offense. You know what I mean? You can't guarantee. You don't want to lose any yards. And you think if you throw it, you'll at least be right where you are. If you throw an incomplete pass, one thing you can't do is throw it near a defender.
It's a hard way to lose, man. It's just a devastating, especially when you've lost 13 in a row in your league, and you finally got a chance to get one on the right side of the ledger. But I do understand them trying to get a little bit closer and trying to run the clock down. I just wouldn't have thrown it either.
Yeah. Well, Florida was so happy to get the win. They fired Billy Napier the next day, which is kind of, and I know you like Billy, and I mean, I've always admired him.
Well, I think he's a good coach.
Yeah.
He just hadn't, there's a bottom line, and at Florida, that bottom line's pretty high.
Right.
You got to win.
Right.
I mean, that's just all there is to it. You got to win. And
well, I know they got the bye coming up, so the timing made sense. It's always odd to me when a team wins a game on Saturday and fires their coach on Sunday. It's just weird. I call me old fashioned, but
the question is, if they had won handily, would they have done it? Or, I mean,
I don't know. It's a tough league to win in. It doesn't matter how you win, but I was just kind of surprised at the timing. But I mean,
State's going to get somebody. They're going to beat somebody. They're too good not to.
Yeah. Well, is it inevitable that it's Ole Miss when they need one win to get in the playoff?
Well, it's shaping up to be an interesting story. It wouldn't surprise me that much if State got Texas this weekend.
Well, I was going to look at that game, and Texas now 5-2. I was talking to our mutual friend Andrew Abity yesterday about Billy Napier in Florida. He's down there covering the Gators now, and he was saying that Texas may be the best team he's seen with the worst offensive line around. Like he's the best team that couldn't run the ball.
They can't not only can't run it, they can't protect very well either.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. The projections of them being the best team in the country at the start of the season. Did anybody look at that part of it?
I think it's one of the most overlooked things when people are assessing teams ever. I mean, I think if you have a good offensive line, boy, you are going to be okay. I mean, you may not win the championship or whatever your league is, but if you got the best offensive line, you're going to be competitive. I mean, you're going to be in the top half of those standings, and I mean, the rest of the team matters. Skill position players and how good they are matters, but man, if you're good up front, it just changes everything. And if you, on the flip side, if you are bad, it makes people dogging on Arch Manning to start this season when they played Ohio State and couldn't move the ball. It's like, oh, we thought Arch Manning was good. It's like, no, we thought Arch Manning might have 2 seconds to think about decisions,
Yeah, they're not very good up front, and then you look at teams like Alabama and Georgia.
But Alabama couldn't run the ball at all. They've just recently figured it out. But I mean, it was especially to start the season there, they couldn't run it at all.
Well, they figured it out.
Well, also they got a quarterback who's freaking phenomenal. I think Alabama's the best team in the league. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I think they're just as good as Georgia. Obviously, they beat them in Athens.
Oh yeah,
I think Alabama's the cream of the crop again, and I just hate hearing it come out my mouth.
At some point, you got to talk about Texas A&M.
Nobody else is. Why would I?
Well, they're undefeated. That's one reason.
I know. They flying under the radar. So that brings us to Southern Miss, Dad. I just want to talk for a minute to the Southern Miss fans that listen to the podcast. After you win 2 in a row, after you win a third game, that's called a winning streak.
Yeah.
And that's what Southern Miss.
You may have forgotten about that.
Right. But Southern Miss has now won 3 in a row. It's called a streak. They beat ULL 22-10 on Saturday. They are 5-2 overall, 3-0 in the conference. They have now won more games this season than 2023 and 2024 combined, and they have a great shot at getting to 6-2 if they can win their homecoming game this week against UL Monroe down in Hattiesburg. You were down there this weekend. I'm sure you ran into some Southern Miss fans. Are they just elated at this point?
I don't think some of them even know what to think about it. I mean, it's it's been so long. Yeah, they're real happy, and they should be. And Charles Huff needs to be in consideration for any Coach of the Year honors that might be out there for him, certainly in that league.
Regional league, nationwide or otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, he's the difference. People ask me what is the big difference. It just seems like to me they're playing with purpose. that, and they have a quarterback.
Well, I mean, yeah, you sound like a broken record about Braylon Braxton. I mean, they have a quarterback, and they're doing some things really nice. Especially, I mean, they played well defensively on Saturday. I mean, their
secondary is really special.
Yeah, they're just. I mean, I can't point to one aspect of that team that's not just a little bit better. Even a little bit better. I mean, there's a lot of places where they're vastly improved.
Maybe the biggest factor that gets overlooked, despite the fact that it's such a big factor, is the turnovers.
Yeah.
They just continued to create them.
And take care of the football on the other side.
Yeah, they just, I can't remember the last time Southern Miss was on the right side of the turnover stat. And they are in big way this year.
Yeah. Dad, Jackson State was on bye last week, but they moved up 2 spots from 13 to 11 in the latest FCS coaches poll. They are back in action this week, a big SWAC game at Grambling. They're still undefeated in SWAC play. I mean, I think they're very much in that hunt. But at this point, I mean, we're this deep into the season. We're halfway through, and they're ranked 11th. It's one of those deals where, it's going to be one of those years where I wish that they would play in the playoff.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, I think TC Taylor's got them to where they would be competitive, and I'd love to see where they stack up.
Yeah, it's a ongoing argument.
Yeah.
Where they're better. I mean, as it is, the way it is now, they can win their league, and then they can win
the Celebration
Bowl, which is the HBCU National Championship. Mm-hmm. I don't think they would win the national championship
against North Dakota State or whoever.
I don't.
I don't either, but I mean, I'd love to see them get to play the game.
Well, I do too, but
that's why you play it, right?
Yeah, but again, the feeling in the SWAC and I guess in the MEAC is that we've got our own thing here. Let's do it.
That's fine. And if David only slung rocks at other little scrawny guys, we would never, you know what I mean? Like, what the hell? I feel like I want to see it.
Well, I saw it many times over the years, and it wasn't pretty.
It wasn't pretty. That's really good. Dad, the Saints are terrible. They lost 26-14 to the Bears on the road in a game that shouldn't have been that close, but was. They're now 1-6. They are going to get whooped again Sunday by the Buccaneers, who I watched some of last night, and they're, even without Mike Evans, who broke his collarbone last night, they're a really good football team. They're 5-2. They
really
have a
good
really
team
good quarterback.
With a really good quarterback.
Right. And whoever the Saints play just has a career day. So I would expect them to just whoop up on the Saints pretty bad this weekend.
Where is that game?
It's in New Orleans. I'm going.
Okay.
It's just I don't know how long the fans will wait to pull out the paper sacks. But they're that. I mean, it's just they're no. I mean, in a league that is built on parity, and I keep saying that they're not that far off. They're not that far off. They're not
you're
that
the one
far
that
off.
keeps telling me that.
But every week they find new ways to just either start slow or have they just can't. They just can't put it together. And it's just at some point you just throw up your hands and say, it's everybody. It's the whole team.
Well, I'm at the golf tournament Sunday, so I'm not watching. But every time I would come in to the clubhouse where they had the game on and I'd check it out, it seemed like every time something happened and it was the Saints stepping on their own toe.
Yeah.
I mean, there was one play. I come in there. It's a fairly close game.
Yeah.
And they hit a big play, and there's a flag on the ground, and it was because they lined up wrong.
Right.
The pre-snap penalties thing is just about to drive me nuts. They're professionals. You got to be able to line up right.
You would think so, but that wouldn't be their way. At this point, I don't know how many games they're going to win. I just wish that the Jets would win a couple. Hate that they're not on the schedule. You give them at least one. And then, especially if it was on the road. The Saints seem to play terrible on the road.
Well, you're talking about trying to get the top draft pick.
I don't know who it would be at this point. The best quarterback available, probably, even though that's not really their biggest problem.
It is not their biggest problem.
I'll put it to you this way. Usually in this space, I would usually say, "Oh man, you got to take an anchor offensive lineman or a pass rushing defensive end." That's what. But I'm so sick of them missing on those guys. I'm so tired of that. It's like you get the piece, like, all right, we did the responsible thing, and then like 2 years from now, they're making their first start, and they can't. Turns out they can't play.
They've moved the offensive tackle into guard.
Right into guard because he couldn't play tackle. Right, exactly. I'm so please forgive me if I'm not gung ho about taking the next anchor on a line somewhere. God bless. At this point, I'd be happy with a quarterback, a big time wide receiver. I mean, they got to do something to address the offense. It's stagnant. They need help. The pass rush and defensive end would be probably the way to go. But God, just pick a sure thing. I'm so tired of this project player BS, man.
Is there a dominant? I don't know. Is there a dominant pass rusher, a guy that can't miss?
There's got to be somebody, right?
Well,
I mean, there's no Nick Bosa's out there that I've seen, but there's got to be somebody.
Yeah,
somebody's got one.
Yeah.
So there's got to be some options there. Dad, tell me. I want to hear more before we get out of here about this tournament down at Fallen Oak. When I talked to you and asked you how it was going, I think your exact words were, "God, what a golf course!"
It's one of the greatest golf courses I've ever seen, and it just happens to be a hidden jewel in Mississippi. It's a Tom Fazio course that there are no flaws, no easy shots. It's a great golf course. But here's my takeaway from the golf tournament. I'm a couple weeks removed from watching the pros play at Sanderson Farms, and then I'm watching. This is one of the best college golf tournaments in the country. Some of the best players in the country are there. And there ain't that much difference. I mean, there's really not that much difference in these top college players and the pros. I mean, these guys are going to – the best players who were at Fallen Oak will be on the tour in the next 2 or 3 years. I mean, that's how good they are. They bomb it. I mean, they just hit it so far, it's unthinkable. LSU and Alabama tied for the championship. Ole Miss, which is ranked higher than either one of them, finished 5th. I think State was 9th and Southern 10th or something like that. But it's really terrific golf, and that tournament has become one of the top 4 or 5 college golf tournaments, regular season golf tournaments out there.
Yeah. Well, I'm interested that you say there's not a big difference between those and the guys you were watching the Sanderson Farms Championship. Is that what makes – I mean, and there was a good field at Sanderson, don't get me wrong, but, is that what makes the guys that are in that top 50 in the world golf rankings special? I mean, they're – you know what I mean?
Well,
can you go to that golf tournament and say, I'm watching some of the best golfers in the entire world? You feel, yeah.
Well, you had probably at the Sanderson Farms, you had probably 10 of the top 100 players in the world, 4 of the top 50.
Right.
The guy who won the individual title, and I could never pronounce his name, he's from Iceland.
Oh, okay.
That plays for LSU.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's the 10th ranked amateur golfer in the world.
Okay.
He plays for LSU. Ole Miss has 3 of the top 50 ranked amateurs in the world, including Michael Lasasso, who won the NCAA championship. I'm just here to tell you that there were I saw probably 500 spectators watching that down there. And if people had any idea how good they were, people who are interested in golf would have been there because they're just so good.
Yeah. I'm glad was it Sunday and Monday, right?
It was Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. I wasn't there Saturday.
Well, I mean, that's what it's tough during football season on a Saturday, but or Sunday when the Saints are playing, but I'm glad it wrapped up on a Monday. It was a good crowd.
Yeah, it was. Here's the thing: on Saturday, and I wasn't there Saturday. They had big screen TVs, jumbotrons behind the 9th and 18th greens, and they were playing college football the whole time.
Yeah, and how would you like to putt while the crowd's watching a football game next to you?
Well, there wasn't that big a crowd.
Right.
But when the teams would come up to the 18th green, they play their fight songs. I mean, it's just kind of a cool deal.
Well, good. I'm glad you did it. Can't wait to read your story from it.
Yeah.
Guys, that's all the time we got out here. Dad, you looking forward to anything else this weekend? You're going down to the beach, aren't you?
Well, I'm supposed to be down in Destin Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday next week. So
you taking the golf clubs, I take it.
Yes.
People sleep on the beach trip in the fall, man. It's great. It's fantastic.
Best weather ever.
Not hot. It's like between 65 and 75. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's that way. You can catch days like that in December in Destin. You know, it's still pretty good golf weather.
Good. All right, guys. Well, that's all the time we got. Y'all have a safe week out there, and we'll talk to you in this space next week.